Okay, cooking with tea lights, second revision. I took another, or one of the bread loaf pans, and I made a grill in the top, and those four posts are to hold up the pan, you'll see. And then I made four other little legs like that to give it draft. Now I got the same thing, 12 tea light candles going there. And yeah, it's getting pretty hot here. We'll see if, try and boil some water, see if it goes faster than the last design. Okay, this is the setup. Same thing, different handles because they don't have to be fancy. About the same amount of water in the top cake pan, the bottom one. Now I'm just guessing at these gaps here, the one at the bottom and the one at the top. There would be some that were maximum efficiency in terms of burning and heat transfer. I left it big to make sure it burns clean. Now watch, I am getting a draft. Blow up this. It is sucking candle under there. Okay, so the time is 10:47. We'll see how long it takes to boil. Oh, I forgot to say, after yesterday's little incident there with experimenting, I took a few safety precautions. I also lined this with tin foil to make it easier to clean up. But the candles are spaced farther apart inside of there so they don't get as hot. I have a plier ready to deal with the bottom because there's no handle on it. I have my snuffer ready. I have no clutter on the sink, on the counter. And in the sink I have empty sink and 2 wet towels just in case things go bad. I'm not expecting it to, but you never know. It's an experimental contraption. Okay, we'll get back to you on the boil. Okay, it took about 45 minutes. 11:32 will be 45 minutes. But the water has started boiling. That's more efficient than the other rig. So, I wasn't going to do it, but since it's going so well, I'm going to make some more soup. We'll start with the rice. That's about half the rice. And for this kind of thing, minute rice or parboiled rice is the best. Minute rice is good. It cooks in like 10 minutes. So, we'll get back to you after that cooks a little bit. Well, it's been about an hour since I put the water on to boil. 47, but quite a bit better result today. The rice it's slowly boiling. The rice is slowly cooking. The rice is like half cooked already, and the last time at an hour the water was just barely boiling. So now I'm gonna go put in the dehydrated noodles or the dehydrated vegetables. I'll give it another 10 or 15 minutes for the rice to cook. Alright, I'll be back to you in a bit. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. Yeah, we got a pretty good little simmer going here. The rice is cooked. See it bubbling there off to the left? The rice is cooked. Yeah, or at least it's soft enough to be digestible, so we put in the bouillon cube. Stir that to dissolve it. See, that rice is cooking and swelling really nice. It must be minute rice. I wasn't sure if it was minute rice or parboiled, but minute rice is what you want. Look at that, eh? Woohoo! Okay, and I'm gonna put in the corned beef at this time. About half the can of corned beef. Of course, out in the bush you wouldn't have the luxury of a bowl, but so about half the can of corned beef. And oh yeah, I use the can opener and cheat a little. When I cut the can off like this, you could do that out in the bush. And the way you do that is you grind this edge against the rock to fold. You grind it against a rock or something until you cut through, and the lid will just lift right off. And then you got a nice little emergency bush cup there. So we'll let this there. Oh yeah, I forgot the other thing. Hold on, there's one more thing to go. Since it's rice, I thought I'd give a little bit of a Asian sweet and sour thing by putting in one of the packets of orange juice. Flavor, we'll see how that goes. Oh man, that's thickening it up really nice. This will be a much more satisfying bowl of soup than the last time. And the stove is working really well. I'm surprised. Nice and stable and steady. Candles are burning good. Okay, well, we'll let that simmer a little bit longer and take it off the heat. Get back to you. Well, there you go. I started at 11:47 boiling the water. It's 12:08 now. What does that make it? An hour and 20 minutes? But there's a really good boil going now. Holy crap. It seems like the more you add, the better it boils. So that's like done. It was maybe done 10 minutes ago. Check that out. Give that a test. But the stove is still stable. All right. Okay. So I want to try something else. Okay, I'm curious. The stove is good and hot. If you just wanted a cup of coffee, how long would it take? This is a regular sized mug, and this is a little bit of an oversized mug, so we're going to try that one. We'll top it up good. The time is 12:15. Here we go. See how long it takes to get a cup of coffee. Well, I'll take an opportunity here to talk about a couple things. Man, I got a lot of soup. It came out really good too. I'm going to enjoy that. Surprisingly good. Kind of like I don't know, hipster chef soup. Rice and corned beef and orange juice. The stove worked out really well. I'm surprised. I could crank it up a bit more. There's only 12 candles under there. I could fit 15. And I think I could narrow this gap here to improve the efficiency, to tweak it a bit. That seems to be about right there, so I'm really pleased. Adding another 3 candles, making it 15, would up the heat by 25%. And I think I could get another 25%, so you could probably make that soup in about 45 minutes, an hour. So there you go. If you were stuck in a motel room for the night, nothing to do but watch cable, little town, no place to eat, you'd have time to do this. You could make soup. And if it was only a one night thing with the contents of the kit, if you had some bread or a bun or something, you could eat it all in one night to satisfy your hunger. Most of it, you could make that soup I showed you, the jerky and pasta soup, make some corned beef sandwiches, make a big batch of rice pudding for the next morning. It'd take you about 3 or 4 hours, but like I said, nothing to do in a motel in a little town where everything's closed. Watch cable and cook yourself some food. Okay, I'll get back to you when the water boils. Well, 20 minutes since I put on the cup of water to boil. And it is boiling. Fairly good too. Again, that would be enough to sterilize water drinking it. But also enough for a cup of instant coffee, tea, or those noodles that come in a styrofoam cup that you fill up to the line. There would be enough water for that. Or some of the more expensive camping and military meals where they're dehydrated and you add water. So it'll be good enough for that. Okay, so now, hold on, I'm going to show you the whole thing. I'm going to take the pot off. Well, I really like the idea of the tea lights for a heat source. They're so clean. And I've done it all. Back in the day, we did wood. Lift this up. Put it off to the side to cool. Back in the day when we were camping, we did wood when I was a kid, and then we got a Coleman stove, and we used that for a lot of years, and even I did up until a few years ago. Now I have all propane portable barbecue, camp stove, and heater. I'm gonna get a lamp soon. But they all have their problems, especially for apartment living. Like if you're living in an apartment, and we'll check out the stove here while I'm talking. Just 4 bolts in the top. I made all of that stuff there. Cut up and burned all those holes. It's just an ordinary pot. I made those loose on purpose. And so it would stack on the bottom of that one, and you just have the bolts to deal with. So that would make it nice and compact. Or you can upside down like that, put it on top, and I don't know, cover this with a little board or something so stuff doesn't fall out. And now these holes I have, I'm gonna get wing nuts so that they not only work as legs for the stove, but also to bolt 2 of these together. If you lived in a small apartment, 1-bedroom apartment or bachelor suite, something like that, it might be a good idea to put together a kit like this and store up some tea lights in case the grid went out. Oh, these are still burning, so let's put these out the proper way. And there. These are a little hot yet. Wow, I'm really pleased with how that worked out. Here's a look at the stove. Not much to it. Pretty simple stuff. Oh, I located these holes. See the indents? See the indents? Those come up, the indents in the corner there. I located those holes so that those pegs would fit in that little index, makes it more stable. And this was really stable tonight, using it. A lot more stable than the system I used the other night. I'm liking this. Like I say, there's an appeal for solid fuel like candles that you can store for years and years. It never leaks. You don't have the tech of a pressurized vessel. And they burn so clean, these tea light candles. It didn't even set off the smoke detector. So there you go. We'll do more of it. I'm betting I could put 8 or 10 charcoal briquettes underneath this thing. Just the same setup, the gap on the ground. And it would boil water, but not only that, I bet you I could grill dogs and burgers on top of it if I did that. So we'll run a few more experiments, let you know how it goes. Well, I ate that one bowl soup. That was pretty good soup. Okay, I guess that's about it for now, my friends. Good hunting and sweet water.